Assemble your crew. I'll be outside.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Talkin Shit. I, of course, am Shaka Khan here at World's Worst Gaming, and I have a very special guest. Introduce yourself.
I'm Carleton Bluford. I'm an actor-writer. I got into gaming largely because of you, watching you play, so yeah. And this AI thing,
Okay.
and just hit me that if I have stories that I'm doing for core stories, what I literally could do, you can make images based off of whatever, you can literally create the characters.
No, yeah, we can do all that. Nigga, that's why I was like, send me something, because I can literally go write the rest of the shit, and you can like it or not like it, but it will give us some place to start from. That's why I was like, just give me something. That's literally why I was like, give me something, because I was going to go, because I have an intimate relationship with ChatGPT. We're going to have a cup of coffee and go over the shit, and I was going to come back to you with some steaming hot story.
Yeah, I mean...
Yo, your voice just now. Your voice just now was like, what?
Yeah, what you're talking about right now is literally what the Writers Stirke is about.
Really?
So, yes.
Talk to me.
So they're trying
let's
not
talk
to...
about the Writers Stirke. Let's do that.
Well, basically they're just trying to... I mean, it's not all of it, but a large part of it is that they feel like AI can write most of or replace writers. And obviously writers don't want that. And the thing is, me and my director friend were talking the other day, the difference in AI, like for example, you could take an idea that I give you and go and do something with ChatGPT or whatever, and then come back, and it's going to be a story. It's going to be a complete story that's gratifying, whatever. The difference is that the AI, it doesn't know, it's never felt anything. Like it doesn't. There's little nuances that's not going to be able to get. That writers are fighting, like, hey, listen, they're not, like, for example, Abbott Elementary, Quinta Brunson, the creator of Abbott Elementary. So,
okay,
who's basically in the picket line striking, basically saying, you know, AI can't write the raps that, you know, the raps that are in the show, which is true, because the raps, she writes the raps that are in the show.
Right.
And it's really nuanced, and it's funny, like, it's jokes, you know?
Right.
And the scary thing that happened that you know we think about that could happen is that it's like, regardless of whether AI can write those things or not, but potentially you just go and get an algorithm, what people are watching and what people are liking at the time, or a trend, put it in the chat, you know, the chat, or the AI,
right,
and then now the AI is making things that people quote unquote like,
right,
and so it's like, well, this is selling, it's on TV.
Right.
That's what we're doing now.
Oh.
Every writer lost their job,
and that becomes a trend. Yeah.
So it's like, well, and it's all about what you were talking about too. It's like, well, if the public responds to that, then, you know, if they want to watch real writers work, then they'll watch real writers work. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm speaking for myself as the public, but the public really doesn't have time to decipher who's writing what. When I get off of work,
they don't care.
Yeah, you can't.
Fuck decipher.
So,
they don't give a shit. Like, they don't care. Especially the rate at which we're consuming everything right now. Talk about entertainment, food, music, games. Like, the way we consume here in America, they don't give a shit. Look. We've known for over 40 years that half of our food is not real. We've known this as a fact. People know that shit is not real. The banana we eat now is not a natural banana. It's a genetically engineered banana. You go to fucking McDonald's, the shit you're eating is derived from beef, it's derived from wheat, it's derived from potatoes, but that shit that's not real food. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and you go to the store, motherfuckers go to the store, they freaked out when motherfucker, who was the president, tried to ban corn syrup, because everybody else in the world was doing it, and they connected it with cancer causing shit and obesity, and people lost their fucking minds because soda is not real. The water in soda is barely a real thing. Like, So that's where it really began. When you want to talk about what's real, the consumer and what's real, and how the U.S. consumer discerns with that. There are some who are discerning, but by and large, they don't give a fuck. They don't care.
Right. So I mean, I agree. I'm just saying the problem with that is that, especially with specific people who I admire as writers, really believe in the fact that the thing that makes humans humans is the stories we tell. Since the beginning, we've told stories of how to stay alive, of what's around the corner, of cautionary tales or tales of what can be to give people hope. All of these stories have come from, is a part of what makes humans literally human. Like, my entire industry is based off of storytelling.
Absolutely.
Every part of it. Every part of it.
Absolutely.
Music, acting, dancing, everything. So when you start to replace the human in the most human part of what makes humans humans, for me, I go, well, then I spent my entire life choosing a profession that is really intimate. Might as well have been something else.
You really think that?
Maybe I'm wrong here, but let me just work this out. I do feel like you can, as a writer, like Devin was saying, or you guys were talking about, you can, as a writer, take AI and use it to make your shit to go up a level and be better. I'm all about that. In fact, when I first was hearing about AI, I was like, ooh, I'm super excited about that.
Right.
But I'm not in charge. And the people in charge are like, oh, fuck you, though. Instead of you being able to make something better, we'll just cut you out and just keep the AI. We don't have to pay you.
Okay.
I'm saying, so instead of it being like, I'm this mad producer making music and I use AI and I'm great and everyone's buying my shit and I have a life that is comfortable and I have a place to live and eat and food or whatever. Instead of having that, it's just like, nah, there's no more film writers. I can write all I want. If no one's buying my stuff, I'm not eating. If the industry doesn't give a shit about what I write and they use AI to write it, then it's not a profession anymore. It's an idea. It's a hobby.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like, I can 100% understand that. I'm glad that we had this talk.
Okay. I thought I was just like mic drop, and Kevin was like, well, damn, fuck it, I'm out. I was like, oh, damn, no.
He's like 35 years, and this is where it all ends. Damn. Nah. Yeah. No. I think I got it sorted out now. Well,
did you hear what I said though?
Huh?
Heard what I said though.
Yeah, I definitely heard what you said. I know what not to do.
Right. Yeah.
Because for me, as someone, so this is my thing. How do they stop that? Like, what really does the writer's strike aim to do? Like what can be done about that problem?
Well, I'm literally not in the room, and also, like, let's to be clear for you and whoever listening to this, like, my education on this is nothing. I'm taking things that I'm saying from hearsay and other writers and people who are talking. So
that's fair, and I appreciate you saying that. But from what I understand, like, the whole argument is based on speculation. It's based on a fear, and I'm not saying that substantiates it. But at the same time, I'm saying this to say nobody. You can speculate and you can use common sense, and you can say, based on, trends and what we can expect from the industry, what we can expect from other humans, this is what the danger is. You know what I mean? And you could be correct, or you could be incorrect, or you could be slightly correct. The fact is that nobody knows. And
I said, well, you're right. And honestly, like, to be honest with you and I wouldn't necessarily care if you were like, we were working on something and both of us used AI. Like, great.
But this is the thing. There are people. Apparently, it has to be. If people are going to the lengths of putting an entire industry on pause because we need to address this issue, then there are people who will definitely have a problem with it. It sounds like.
Oh, 100%. Well, that's my point. Is that it's if you and I are creating something to potentially sell, like, great. But if the doors end up closing where there's no selling happening because they've already got, their people at the top going, make me a series about this, including this with this demographic and this algorithm.
We should have did some homework for this call, for this conversation.
I wasn't sure we were gonna have. Yeah, we didn't know. So yeah, we should have.
So there's a new series. There's a new season of Black Mirror out. Have you seen that?
I can't mess with Black Mirror.
Why?
Such a good series. It's just super dark, dude. Soul can't handle it.
Yeah. You need to watch the first episode because it's about literally what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and really honestly, of most Black Mirror episodes, it is the most palatable for me. Kate watched the second. She continued to watch with me. Like, we watched the first one, and then she continued to watch the second one without me. And I didn't watch it for the exact same reason that you just cited. And she's just now getting over the anxiety and nightmares and just unsettling horror that caused.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like literally, I was up all last week. She was up all last week just trying to get to sleep. Like, she couldn't. So, I mean, that, and I'm saying that to say, you can watch the first episode. It's literally about what we're talking about. It's at best, it's funny in some parts. Nobody gets disfigured, maimed, murdered, anything like that. So it's probably the most palatable, at least from what I understand, as far as what they're willing to show. Because the thing about Black Mirror is, like, there's a lot of stuff that they introduce in that show that is conceptually upsetting and disturbing. But then when the concept isn't upsetting or disturbing, then the imagery is.
Right.
And so,
right.
And the thing for me is, both sides don't really gel well with me. But I like to be challenged on the conceptual side. But the imagery is what I don't need. And from what Kate was telling me, some of the things that they depicted, like, she just wanted to tell me just so she could get it out. And I had to decline. I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't need that in my head. There's a specific reason why I did not watch that episode with you. It's because I don't need that in my head. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry that you went and did that. And if you need to take some sessions with our therapist on your own and kind of work through it, then by all means do that. But I don't want to be exposed to that.
Exactly.
Especially after seeing how it affected you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why?
You're already in the hole, Mom would say.
You know what I'm saying? That's like human nature too, right? It's like you bite into a rotten burger and it tastes like doo-doo, and you're like, oh damn, this tastes like shit. Taste that. Like,
nah, I'm good.
And you're like, yo, man, did you just offer me a shit burger, son? Like, like, I'm sorry you just bit into it, but like, it's shit now, and you still gonna offer it to me?
Yeah, nah. And listen, it's to talk about Game of Thrones in this way too. Like, there's no way I can deny the artistry and the work that goes into it, and how millions of people love these shows. Like, great, it's all great and good for them, and that's great. But just for my own personal thing, like, there's a limit, because some of when you're living some of the Black Mirror stuff, like, that's your life. It's not entertainment anymore. It's like, yeah, this sucks. It all sucks. We know it all sucks. And you're just affirming that it sucks really bad. And I'm already getting shovels of that.
Right. And you're also showing me my worst fears on top of that. Like,
exactly.
and, it's funny because I guess some people need that, or they get off on that. I'm not sure what it is. But It's interesting because me and my wife we have brief segments of this same conversation where it goes like, who needs to watch this? Like, who is like, I need to watch as much of this as I can, and apparently it's a lot of people, and it's frightening to us because we're like, fuck, like people want to see this.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think it's like, I think it's a little different because all of the conversations I've had, example for Game of Thrones, with people who I'm like, you like that? Well, yeah, it's great. And they're like, it's not like I wanted to like go and like watch someone getting,
I'll be outside.
every single time they talk, they go, but this is real life. I mean, like this shit happens. And I'm like,
Yeah, but this
hold
is
on.
not real life. Like,
It's literally also not. Like, I'm sure people get,
get to a minimum for me, please.
of course. See, yeah, I can definitely do that. I think that speaks more to my point, even. Like, this is why you need people creating different art in the world, because you need some balance to that shit. You also need stories that show how we can be better and how things can be great.
Right.
Because what it does is it's the same thing. Like, me and my friends, we talk about Star Trek and how back in the day in the 70s when they pulled out the tricorders, it was like an old flip phone. They're talking to people, they're like, wow, wouldn't that be cool one day? And because of that, literally because of that, you can look this up, somebody was like, that would be cool one day, I'm going to start working on that or thinking about that. And that's the reason we have cell phones.
Huh.
So like, think about that, humans seeing something and being like, wow, what if? Then you look at what we're watching on TV and consuming on TV, and it's like, where the hell do you think we are going?
If these are the what ifs.
Right.
I mean, I think that you're right. I think the biggest thing is there are different ways to depict real life. The best doesn't have to be literal, and it really doesn't matter to most people. And the worst of the worst doesn't have to be literal, but tends to be shocking to most people. And for some reason, it seems by and large we gravitate towards the shock over the miraculous. Yeah, maybe because right now the worst is more believable. You could make that argument, but I could counter myself and say that given the state of some things, the way people don't look at history and look at how things could be worse, and can go and read it and look at it and see things that happen, and they'll disbelieve that.
Yeah.
I think we're in a real bit of a pickle with this conversation here, because you're always going to have someone that says, well, I have the latitude and the freedom to do X, Y, and Z. And the one thing that I keep hearing over and over again from, like, when I watch different videos or I watch different programs, especially when it comes to AI, is they always come back to this singular sentence where it's like, they quote Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park when they were talking about, like, your scientists were all hyped out about what they could do, and they never thought about if this was something that they should do. I think the same thing kind of applies to this writer strike that we're talking about, and how potentially these large companies and content producers could roll out AI, and I think it could also be applied to the content and what people are allowing themselves to be exposed to. Yeah, you can go watch a movie about somebody like, being a mass murderer and see every second of that, and it might not affect you. But should you?
Right. And I think, and I just wanted to add to that, you think about, even because everyone's different, you think about, let's say most people are watching that series. You don't want to watch that series, but that's what most people are watching, and so that's what's on. And then that's what continues to be on, because people are trying to follow trends and whatever. And it's like, what can you watch? It becomes like, well, then do I even watch TV? Like, do I even have anything I like,
I mean, the thing is that it's funny that you say that, because like last night, my wife showed me a list that she had running, because we don't have as much time now because we have a little one.
Yeah.
And she showed me a list of all the shows that we need to catch up on. And of all those shows, there's probably two that I will say that we've grown out of. And they feature themes and imagery that would be consistent with what we were talking about. Would be consistent with a lot of gore and violence, and unnecessary gore and violence. And so I do have hope that that content is out there and that content is being produced. And it's funny that when you brought up Abbott Elementary, I think Abbott Elementary is one of those shows. Like, I
Absolutely.
think that's one of those shows where you can watch it and there's something fulfilling about it. That's about, you get a full scope of characters, you get full scope of stories, and there's nothing there that's potentially going to scar you as a human being or scar a human being that's watching it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. There's still conflict, but it's
Yeah, yeah, and it's realistic.
of course.
And it's funny because I don't know what the argument would be
I'll be outside.
from someone who's like, oh, that show is terrible. Because I know that there are people out there that literally are like, yeah, that show is terrible. I never watched that. And I'm not sure what their argument would be. I mean,
Yeah, that's interesting.
and especially like when you look at things like, oh, like this is one of my favorites.
You know what? Wait, I was on that show though, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Sorry.
Dude, did you upload your new reel yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
Working on
man,
it.
come on, brother.
Working on it. Nah,
Brother.
it's coming.
We needed that, man. We needed that because I was definitely gonna play your reel while we were talking. This is a thing that we ran into. My wife and I, we were super excited about the release of the remake of the Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever watch that?
What is it on? Because we're paying for like 4 different things right now, and some of the times it's like, oh, this is on this platform. It's like, well, I can't add another streaming service.
I think they only got 2 seasons in. No, overall,
Yeah.
they gave it a 6 on IMDb. 6 out of 10.
Okay.
And it's a fucking shame because I really think it was I think it was great. It was really good. It's really good. Both seasons were really good.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people that just hated on it. At the time that it came out, 2019, 2020, a lot of people focused it on the political themes, like the political parallels, we'll say.
Sure, yeah.
And so there's a lot of people saying, oh, this is all left agenda, da, 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 da. But mind you, nothing in here is talking about an agenda. It's just talking about real life. And that was the cool thing I felt like about the original Twilight Zone is that just about every single one of those episodes, Rod Serling was kicking somebody's ass. Like, and what I mean by kicking somebody's ass, it was somebody that was watching one of those episodes and he was like, look, I know you're a fucking awful person, and this is probably why you're awful.
Yeah.
You need to get your shit together.
Right.
So so it's funny that Jordan Peele actually didn't go that hard on me, but still stayed in that lane, and people bashed it, and they're like, oh, it's not original. What does it say? Twilight Zone series fails to inspire. It lacks originality. It made the older series catch words for all things weird and wonderful, and the freshness of the tales that really grabbed you back in the day, replaced by slow plotting scripts inhabited by largely uninteresting characters. Overused tropes that are recycled yet again. They just went ham on it. I think he did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was fair, but I think that the time that it came out just didn't help it at all.
Interesting.
I think the time that it came out didn't help it at all, and I think that a lot of people that were Rod Serling fans did not understand at all what Rod Serling was doing. They were just watching, mind-bending shows.
Well, I'm gonna counter that. I could be wrong here. I don't want to, but it's just a thought. But it's one thing where if the black community is doing someone, and then someone in the black community is like, "Yo, guys, we need to think about this, and we need to talk about this." Even if you don't agree, you can be like, "Okay, this guy's saying something," and But if a white guy came into the black community and was like, "Hey, we need to talk about these things," what's the reaction going to be? Even if it's right. And I think there might be some of that coming into play here, where Jordan Peele is stepping into this white guy's shoes in the show this white guy had or created, and he's doing the same things. and they're just like, no, I'm not listening to you. You know, I don't know. I feel like that's probably part of it.
You saying it's branding and packaging? It was the wrong. You're saying Joe Rogan should did the Twilight Zone and it'd still be on the air right now.
I think maybe. I think it might have been a show that, literally the Twilight Zone that like white people kind of have a stamp on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Ours. You can't take it.
Yeah.
Fucking it up with all your blackness.
You know, and maybe that's not if white people are listening to this and like, well, that's not. I don't know. Like, I wonder if he called it something.
The whole thing is that we speculate wildly. We don't know.
But I wonder if he called it something different. It was the same show. He just called it something different and had a whole different thing on it. It would still be going.
Yeah. I agree. I can't disagree. Hey man, you know what? This sucks, but I think our time is up, bro.
Yeah, huh?
Oh man. So we're gonna have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I know. We just talk, huh?
That's why I was talking shit, bro. There's not really even like, it's not even really supposed to be a rhyme or reason.
It's just nice to be able to talk about fun stuff though with you. So it's cool.
Do me a favor, man. And just can you take us out with a warm up?
Yeah, this is my acting warm up that I need to warm up my mouth. So I go, Trinidad and the big Mississippi and the town Honolulu and the Lake Titicaca. The puppet capital's not in Canada, rather in Mexico. Canada, Malaga, Remedy, Primacy. Canada, Malaga, Remedy, Primacy. Canada, Malaga, Remedy, Primacy. Yes. Tibet. Nagasaki, Oklahoma. Yagasaki, Oklahoma. Wanted to do to die today, a minute or two till 2. The thing distinctly hard to say, yet harder still to do. For to beat it to 2 at a 20 to 2 with a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-2, and the dragon will come and he hears the drum at a minute or 2 till 2 today, at a minute or 2 till 2. Bebop, bebots, bebop, bebots, bebop, bebots. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Cinnamon, synonym, cinnamon, synonym, cinnamon, synonym, cinnamon, synonym.
Yo, that's fire. I love you, bro. Thank you for joining us and talking shit, man. All right.
Love you
in a
too.
little bit. I gotta run though.
Okay, cool. I'll be back.
All right.